You're listening to the Rapid Electric Tailgate Party. Let's join Monty Walker with the Rock Hill Investments Coach's Corner with Bulldogs head coach Jake Smith.
All right, Coach, your offense put together a slot T type of performance to start the game. The drive to open the game was, I think, 12 plays, and it took 5.5 minutes off the clock, and you weren't able to punch it in, though.
Yeah, the whole plan going against the slot T team after talking to Coach Fizell is, typically you defer to the second half, but you don't know how many possessions you're going to have. So he called tails, it landed on heads, so we took the ball because we talked about all week long. If he was able to fumble the coin toss, talking about Coach West, that we would take the ball, so we go up 7-0. With plans of if they tied up 7-7, it can go back and forth, and we'll limit their possessions, or possibly stop them and go up 14-0, which would kind of put them behind. And that plan kind of backfired. We did get into the red zone. It was a really good methodical drive that we were able to string together, but we weren't able to capitalize off of it. It just came down to a couple mistakes. We got into the red zone, had a penalty, and had a false start, and then we got back into the red zone, and then we weren't able to come away with it. We actually went forward on fourth down, got the third first down in the red zone, and so we were actually in there 3 times and came away with no points.
Defensively, I thought your kids did a great job for the most part of the game. Turnovers then at the end left your defense on the field for a very long time.
Yeah, I think the game plan that we put together and all week long, despite the type of practices we had on Monday and Tuesday, I felt like the kids were able to compartmentalize just their job. And it was 7-0 at halftime. We felt like it probably should have been 14-7 us at halftime, but nonetheless, it was 7-0, and the kids were playing fast. They were playing physical. We actually did create 2 turnovers, but they actually popped up in the air, and their halfback caught it, and it was pretty serendipitous on their part. But we felt really good defensively what we were doing, mainly for about 3 quarters. I know it didn't look like it because we gave up 300 yards rushing, but who's not going to give up 300 yards rushing against a slot T team like that? But we felt really good, Saturday morning, just some of the mistakes that we had to correct. We still felt really good about how the kids adjusted, and it was a different defensive front that we had to run just because of the nature of who we were going against. And I think the kids stepped up, especially the ones that had to play the entire time on offense and defense. So we got to praise the kids quite a bit on that.
What do you tell a young man when he has bad things continue to happen to him in a game?
I kind of took the approach where nobody needed to talk to him in the game. If you were going to say something to him, make sure we have a saying: the most important rep is the next rep here in Howe. And we truly believe that the most important rep is the next rep, because whether it's good or bad, you can't dwell on and you can't celebrate what happened before the next rep, whether it's from rep 2 all the way to 105. Those are the most important reps. And so I kind of took the approach of not going and talking to the kid, and I let Coach Blanton talk to him. And it came down to a communication issue, and then also just executing the catch. But we actually do that drill that puts us in that situation every Tuesday, where we're kicking onside kicks, we're kicking short little pooches or chip kicks where they've got to communicate you or me. And so it's something that we have practiced all year long, every Tuesday, for that specific situation, and that situation caught us and we didn't execute. But I did grab that young man as we were getting off the bus and we were on the sidewalk going into the locker room, and I told him that I'm not going to take him off that unit. I'm not going to berate him or anything, because I know what he's capable of, and that's the first time he's done it all year. And I told him that we trust him, and it's his job to go and execute his job, because we're not taking him off. So he's got to figure it out.
You said after the game that it sounds kind of weird to say that in a 42-13 loss that you had the better team, but I think a lot of Bulldog fans may have had the same feeling as they were exiting the gates.
Yeah, I think that's kind of like the feeling that I got whenever I was walking down the staircase to go down to the locker room at halftime. Is I could tell that there were some people that were like, oh my gosh, it's just 7-0. Like we hadn't been like this against Bells in a long time, and shoot, I think we're going to win the game. And that's really I've only felt that maybe a couple times, like maybe the Bowie game since I've been in Howe, that the people in the stands truly believe that we're going to win the game. Now, walking in, I don't know if I didn't hear too much chit-chat or chatter of whether we were going to win or not. I think some people just want to keep it close, but we always go in there with the expectations of winning. And it kind of felt good to have that energy and the fans behind our backs to, give us that push when it was just 7-0 at halftime. We had confidence, and the kids had confidence. And why I truly believe that we were a better football team is because we were in the red zone 4 or 5 times, and we should have came away with points. And the 21-point swing all came off of those muff kicks on our kickoff return. And it's the first time all year long that I could be wrong, but our offense finally didn't turn the ball over. And we average about 3 or 4 of those every single week, and the offense did their job of possessing the football. But it happened to be another unit that ended up biting us in the butt. So that's why I felt like we were the better football team. And talking to the Bells coaches over there, I think they felt like they kind of came away with one on the road. So that's what made it so disappointing.
You're listening to the Rock Hill Investments Coaches Corner with Howe head coach Jake Smith. We'll be right back. Tonight's Bulldogs football is brought to you by Noble Ridge, right here in Howe, just off Highway 75 at Summit Hill Parkway and walking distance to Summit Hill Elementary. Noble Ridge is our hometown's newest master plan community, featuring new homes from the nation's top builders, plus trails, parks, and family-friendly amenities. Developed by Rock Hill Capital Investments, a trusted North Texas developer with thriving communities in Salina, Sherman, and across the region. Noble Ridge is proud to call Howe home. Learn more at nobleridgetx.com. That's nobleridgetx.com. You're listening to the Rock Hill Investments Coaches Corner with Howe head coach Jake Smith. Coach, what the Howe Bulldogs need right now is a bye week, but instead you get the opposite of that. You go on the road to the Gunner Tigers, and what do you see coming out of that?
Yeah, what a great opportunity to get to play the number 1 team in the state. That's truly our approach. We're like, when I first took this job, it's like, we have a recipe for success, and we got to continue to instill that in our kids. And I tell those kids all the time, I have no problem meeting another person in the A gap, and that's your mentality. Where I want that fullback to come run right through the A gap and meet me, and I put my 2 screw holes on his chin, and hopefully that mentality rubs off on our kids. Where I don't really care who we're playing, because they're going to have to play the Howe Bulldogs, and that's what they got to fear. And I know a lot of people that might be listening to this, are probably laughing and chuckling, but there's going to come a point in time where people are really going to fear playing the Howe Bulldogs, because that's what we're teaching our kids. We're already going over to the playground over there at the intermediate school. We're recruiting kids to play football. We're talking to the flag football teams about how, this is it's going to be a group that's winning a state championship, and that's what you got to do when you take over a town. You don't just brainwash the seniors. You start brainwashing those first graders. It's funny. I've even got the girls volleyball team hanging their heads out of bus, and because we got a thing we bark on game day. And, Friday's game day, and so you walk up and down the streets of Howe and the hallways of all the schools, and kids are barking. So you got to start brainwashing people where it is a great opportunity. And the last time that the Gunner Tigers lost a district game was against the Howe Bulldogs, and so you got to hang your hat on that. And I don't really care how long ago that was. And so you got to take pride in who you get to play, and what a great opportunity. We could always line up and play against S&S every single week, but are we really going to feel good about ourselves? That the answer in this program is no. So we got to be excited about playing the Gunner Tigers, and we got to be able to send a message. Win, lose, or draw, we got to make sure that they feel it.
You mentioned that they're ranked number 1 in the state. It's no secret what they are, and I think your players probably understand their track record. Have you had any problems keeping them focused this week?
No, we don't have any problems with that. We've got a great group of kids that show up and work hard every single day, and the ones that are here are the ones that we want to be here. And just with them being number 1, I think our kids are excited to get to play them. We're not trying to put any bulletin board material out there, but we're excited about the opportunity.
Coach Gill has taken over as head coach at Gunner. Are you seeing any difference in play from them?
Yeah, they're not really doing too much pistol flex stuff like they have in the past. Mainly because I think that they've got bigger body offensive linemen where they run more of a zone scheme. They're not man scheme or gap scheme as much. I mean, they still run the belly G. They still run some GT counter, but they run a lot more option than what we've seen in the past and a lot more zone scheme. But they do have some bigger bodies up front than what they have in the past. But they still play with unbelievable tempo. They still play mistake-free football, and they play really, really hard because the same thing that we're trying to get our kids to believe. Our Howe Bulldog kids, they're different, and I know those guys over at Gunner. That's what they preach to those kids, that their kids are different. So it's exciting to see what's going to happen on Friday.
Any changes in personnel-wise heading into the Gunner game?
No, we don't have any personnel changes. We're still going to I think we kind of started to find a little niche of stuff that we're going to move forward with in the future with some more two-back stuff and just different variations of it. And so we don't have any personnel changes as of right now.
The Coach's Corner has been brought to you by Rock Hill Investments. You're listening to the Rapid Electric Tailgate Party.